an honor to truly speak about a woman whom I admired greatly. Admired greatly because there are a lot of people who tell us, do what I say. I want to repeat, there are a lot of people in the world who will tell you, do what I say. But there are very, very few people in the world who can say, live like I lived. And Tavamani falls into that class of people who can tell, live like I lived. Today I will classify her life into 3 S's, the alphabet yes. The first yes was a woman who had a strength of steel. A strength of steel that would be displayed in the way she would conduct her astounding life. She was a fantastic student, right from her school. She did her MBBS in India and then her pediatrics in the United States, and there was absolutely no necessity for her to say that anything and everything that's my husband's desire will be my desire. So when Chairman had this relentless dream of building a hospital in India, she would say yes to it, whatever the price. And the price, ladies and gentlemen, was much bigger than what one can imagine. It was not an easy task for her to say, go and build your dream when I will look after your 2 teenage sons who will be left behind in the United States. Mohan and Purni were young teenagers, the most rebellious part of the age. And quoting Mohan Palani, he says, I do not know how my mother did it. Those were the most difficult times in her life. She would make food for us for all the 7 days on a Sunday. She would ensure we lacked nothing. She would continue to focus that we studied and we were extraordinarily students because she never left that focus. And if you thought that was difficult, have you thought about the emotional breakdown a mother will go when she's separated from her 9-year-old son who would travel all the way to India to stay alone with our chairman? I don't know what a great dad he was. To trust that this young child could live without a mother. Not many mothers can do that. To say, go build your dream while I stand and take guard. This journey would never end with Dr. Tavamani. Chairman's dreams were momentous and large. It doesn't end with the starting of KMCH. He wanted to make the hospital bigger. He wanted college, institution after institution after institution. And every single time, Dr. Tavamani will say, stop, we have to bring an end to this. But there was no way anybody can stop Chairman. As anybody who's worked with Chairman will understand, if he says yes, it can never be a no. But every time an institution was completed, Dr. Tavamani will take it as her own child. She would give 100%. She would give 200%. Whatever it mattered to make sure this dream that she did not want would finally succeed and Chairman would get the glory that the city, this town and the country gives. I've asked her in several occasions. I said, Dr. Tavamani, how do you do it? She said, my philosophy is clear. If I do not know that, the family will split. We will be divided. There will be nothing that will exist. And therefore, his dreams will always be my dreams. Have you thought about that? In a world where women say, I want to be liberated, this is the greatest liberation. Where a woman says, I will stand and ensure my family will always come above my interests in life. But nothing is greater than the way she would handle a crisis. Finally, when chairman was sick with COVID, the way she handled it is something phenomenal. I do not know how many of you know the story. If chairman lives today, it's because of her. All of us felt when he was put on the ECMO that she should be shifted to MGM Hospital, Chennai. She came and told me, you will never shift her out of this hospital. If he lives, he will live in KMCH. If he dies, he will die in KMCH, and therefore he lived today. I can assure you, if he went to MGM, he would have never done it. And nobody other than Dr. Tavamani that day put her foot down. She said, I do not want to listen to another statement of shifting. That was her strength. A strength that looks like weakness was not weakness. It was a strength which was way beyond the understanding of most people. And that is the first yes I wanted to talk to you about. The second yes about her was a simplicity demonstrated in the greatest level of humility I've seen in a leader. It was not about the way she dressed, not about the way she would talk and engage herself with people. But it was the fact that she never ever wanted to be in center stage. She never wanted anyone to praise her. There were many occasions when the Women's Day, I would tell Dr. Tavamani, can we do a story about your life? And she'll say, no, you will never do a story about my life. I don't want that. She was so happy to see her husband on stage receiving all the glory. There was no problem with that. She was so happy to see her children on stage, to see her colleagues on stage, when very often she was the reason they were on stage. And I'm not joking about that. It's absolute honesty. She never wanted to be on the center stage. You know what's the problem of the greatest leaders in the world? The lack of ability to ever come up and say, I made a wrong judgment. And Dr. Tavamani is probably the only person in whom I saw this amazing capability of coming and saying that I judged something wrongly. When we were building this cancer building, she came many times to me and said, you know, Dr. Matthew, I think you're going totally overboard. You, along with Ramani Shankar, is pushing chairman to build a 5-star hotel, not a hospital. She said, you're pushing him to put investment on technology and equipment that is financially doesn't make sense. And she told this several times. And when the new cancer block was inaugurated, she was the first person who walked up to me and said, do you know what you build along with chairman is transformational. It will change the way healthcare will be seen in this part of the country. What you have created is fantastic. Who am I? A person 20 years younger to her, an employee working in a company. She was the vice chairman of the hospital, the wife of my chairman. She need not have said anything in life. That to me is the highest level of humility. When a leader comes to somebody who doesn't deserve to be told and come and say, you know what, I judged this wrongly. How many of you sitting here can emulate this? When you celebrate today and say, she's a great woman. And the last and the third is the sensitivity she had for people. Astounding. It was to a level I've never seen. Let me quote Mathura Palniswamy. She says to me, she was the greatest mother I have seen. She says, she was my mother, she was my mentor, she was my cheerleader, she was my everything. She said, I've never seen anybody who could be that person I could lean on. But that she went to say she was the mother of everyone. Whether it's a ward girl, whether it was a student, whether it's a staff, whether it's a teacher, come to her and she said she would give her everything to listen to you, to give compassion to you. One of my young colleagues in my department was telling, one day I told her I'm having a problem with a maid at home. Every time she sees me, she'll ask me, is everything good at your home? She was there for everyone, despite class, despite anything. She would like to be their friend. She was always worried whether I had a meal. It's crazy. Even when she was sick and dying, she would ask us, "Did you eat?" She was astoundingly beautiful. You know, the grace that she had in her sensitivity was beyond anything I have seen. I have seen great people dying. I have seen people of eminence, spiritual leaders dying. When Dr. Tavamani was dying, she was gasping. She took out the mask, looked at each one of us and said, "Thank you so much for everything you have done for me." Can you imagine that? That is grace. That is grace to a level that I've never ever seen in any human being. To me, she was the most beautiful, the most amazing woman that I have encountered in my life. And I'm not lying. Today, if you want to pay tribute, how many of you today can say, "I want to emulate her"? In the strength that she had to hold a family together beyond anything, to hold the dreams of her husbands together beyond anything. How many of you today can say, "When I walk back from this place, I want to be like her. I want to be like her in her humility. I want to be like her in the love and sympathy that she has for people around her." Before I close, I want to read something to you which to me was so profound. King Solomon is considered the wisest of all the kings that lived on this earth. There is a whole book in the Bible called the Proverbs, the words of wisdom that he writes. 3,000 years before, he describes what he calls a woman of virtue. And he says, "A wife of noble character, who can find? She is worth far more than rubies. Her husband has full confidence in her and lacks nothing of value. She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. She opens her arms to the poor and extends her hands to the needy. Her husband is respected at the city gate, where he takes a seat among the elders of the land because of her." Unbelievable. 3,000 years back, this man says, a woman of great virtue is she who will ensure that a husband will be respected in the city and the country because of her. Seriously, can you think about that fact? She watches over the affairs of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children rise up and call her blessed. Her husband calls her blessed and praises her. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Dr. Tavamani. Thank you.
Chairman, Dr. Nalaji Palniswamy, ladies and gentlemen, dignitaries on the dais and off the dais, grief and deep reverence that I stand here this afternoon representing the GRG institutions and my own GRG family to pay respects to late Dr. Tavamani Palniswamy. I think after Dr. Matthews' address, it's very difficult to get back to normalcy. It was a very profound description of Dr. Tavamani. I don't know if I can match that, Dr. Matthew. She was a visionary pediatrician, pioneering medical professional, institution builder, and a very benevolent educator. She symbolized quiet strength, boundless empathy, and unrelenting spirit for excellence in thought and action. She was a mother, like Matthew said, to the thousands whose life she impacted. She dedicated her life to uplifting healthcare in this Western region, empowering youth through education, and serving the community with unmatched compassion with our chairman. In her own words, I just want to repeat what she used to, I believe, often say. Our aim is to instill in our students the importance of becoming responsible global citizens, poised to make a positive impact on society. Her unwavering commitment to integrity, respect, and empathy served as the bedrock for the KMCH group. Her career spanned decades of clinical and academic excellence, both here in India and abroad. I don't want to repeat what others have said, but despite her international success, her heart remained in India. She returned to India, and that set new benchmarks in healthcare both in the pediatric and neonatal healthcare across Western Tamil Nadu. And driven by a passion to transform society through learning, she laid the foundation for world-class healthcare, technical, and general educational institutions in our Coimbatore region, which we are truly proud of. Dr. Tavamani recognized early on that healing extends beyond hospital walls. So all the world-class educational institutions and ecosystems under this banner of Dr. NGP Research and Educational Trust and KMCH Trust, we saw institutes spanning nursing, pharmacy, allied health sciences, physiotherapy, arts and science, engineering, teacher training, and general schooling. She received many awards, we all know. Her leadership extended across the broader academic and civic landscape. She served on the planning board and research committees of Bardiyar University. She was very active in Confederation of Indian Industry. She led as the president of the Indian Academy of Pediatrics, and in recognition of her exemplary services, she was also accepted as a fellow of both the American and Indian Academy of Pediatrics. She's won many, many awards. The list is long. But on behalf of the GRG family and all our institutions, I convey our heartfelt condolences to our chairman and the members of the bereaved family. Her legacy of grace, wisdom, and service will continue to guide and inspire all of us, especially myself, because she had a very, very long relationship both with my mother-in-law, Srimati Chandrakanti, and later on after her demise with myself. I want her noble soul to rest in peace. But before I conclude, I just want to leave a suggestion to the family, to Arun. I request that you establish a Dr. Tavamani Young Medical Professionals Fellowship Program to nurture the next generation fellows of healthcare leaders. The fellowship would be designed to develop clinically competent, ethically grounded, and socially responsible medical professionals who can lead with compassion, innovation, and excellence. The program would provide a structured platform for emerging medical professionals to strengthen their leadership capabilities, enhance interdisciplinary collaboration, engage in community health initiatives, and cultivate a lifelong commitment to patient-centered care. Through mentorship to these fellows by eminent clinicians, exposure to healthcare management, research, public health, and innovation, I'm sure the fellowship will create a cadre of future healthcare leaders equipped to influence clinical practice, health policy, medical education, and community well-being, thereby leaving a lasting impact on the healthcare ecosystem in her name. I urge the family to give this a deep thought. I conclude thanking the committee for giving me the honor and privilege to deliver this memorial address. Let me end with a few lines from the poem, A Psalm of Life by Henry Longfellow. Quote, "Lives of great men and women all remind us we can make our lives sublime. And departing, we leave behind us footprints on the sands of time." And that is what Dr. Tavamani has done. Thank you. Pranams.
மேடையில் அமர்ந்திருக்கும் பெரியோர்களுக்கும் அவையினருக்கும் திரு டாக்டர் நல்லாஜி பழனிசாமி அவர்களின் குடும்பத்தாருக்கும் என் இனிய வணக்கம். இந்த மேடை வழக்கமான மேடைகளை விட வித்தியாசமானது. இதில் உணர்ச்சி ஓடைகள் ததும்பி நின்றன. டாக்டர் மேத்யூவின் பேச்சு உங்களுக்கு அதை உணர்த்தியிருக்கும். அதனால் இந்த மேடை முற்றிலும் வித்தியாசமானது. பிறப்பது இயற்கை, வாழ்வது ஒரு வாய்ப்பு. ஆனால் பிறர் வாழ்வில் ஒரு ஒளியாக மாறுவது தவம். ஆதலினால் தவமணி தேவியாயிற்றோ உங்கள் பெயர். கோபியின் மண்ணின் மணி சென்னையில் மருத்துவ மெருகேறி ஒரு மன்னன் கைப்பிடித்து கடல் கடந்து கண்டம் கடந்து மழலை மருத்துவம் படித்தது ஒரு பரிமாணம். அங்கு ஒரு தாயாக 3 முத்துக்களை பெற்று நன்மக்களாக வளர்த்தது. எங்கள் தலைவரையும் 4வது குழந்தையாக வளர்த்தது. ஏனெனில் அவர் மனதில், உங்கள் மனதில் அவர் ஒரு குழந்தை என்றோ. இது இன்னொரு பரிமாணம். அமெரிக்கா உயரம் அளித்தது, ஆனால் இந்திய கனவு இங்கு அழைத்தது. இங்கு நீங்கள் இருவரும் அமைத்தது மருத்துவமனை அல்ல, உயிர் காக்கும் ஆலயம். ஆதலினால் அன்றோ இறைவனும் அங்கே ஓய்வின்றி பணிபுரிகிறான் உங்களை பார்த்து. கல்லூரிகள் அமைத்தீர். இல்லை இல்லை, அவை கனவு பார்க்கும் தொழிற்சாலைகள் இளைய தலைமுறையினருக்கு. சிகரம் தொட்டும் விருது மழை பெய்தினும் அன்பும் எளிமையும் அரவணைப்பும் உங்கள் அணிகலன் ஆகின. என் மருத்துவ கனவான கருத்தரிப்பு மையத்தை நனவாக்க கடந்த 1/4 நூற்றாண்டு பயணத்தில் என் கைப்பிடித்து தோள் கொடுத்து நிழல் மரமாக இருந்ததற்கு எவ்விதம் நன்றி சொல்வேன். உங்கள் தலைமுறை கனிந்த பொழுது அக்கனிகள் இவ்வுலகம் காணும் பொறுப்பினை என கழித்தது என் மீது வைத்திருக்கும் நம்பிக்கைக்கு சான்றளித்தீர். எப்படி நன்றி சொல்வேன்? என் வாழ்வின் சில இருள் தருணங்களில் உங்கள் அணைப்பில் அமைதி கண்டேன். அப்பொழுது நீங்கள் அனுப்பிய குறுஞ்செய்தி என்றென்றும் என் நினைவு பெட்டியில். அதை வாசிக்கிறேன். Do not blame yourself for the events around you. Sometimes we have no control over situations. God created us and has all these plans for us. We are just puppets in the show. Let us believe that everything happens for a reason which we do not know. Trust God and pray for help. Love you. இந்த குறுஞ்செய்தியும் அதனுள் மணக்கும் உங்கள் அன்பும் என்றென்றும் என் நினைவில். எப்படி நன்றி சொல்வேன்? உங்கள் பரிசு மழையிலும் பலமுறை நனைந்துள்ளேன். ஏன், நான் அணிந்திருக்கும் இச்சேலையும் நீங்கள் அளித்த பரிசுதானே. உங்கள் அமைதியான பயணத்தில் கொரோனா என்னும் புயல் வீசிய பொழுது, கொடிய புயல் வீசிய பொழுது, எங்கள் தலைவரை அது தாக்கிய பொழுது கண்களில் கண்ணீர், ஆனால் உள்ளத்தில் உறுதியுடன் சாவத்திரியாக மாறி யமனிடம் போராடி மீட்டீர்கள் எங்கள் அன்பு தலைவரை. இப்பொழுது மட்டும் எப்படி விட்டு செல்ல மனம் வந்தது உங்களுக்கு? இன்று எங்கள் இழப்பிற்கு பரிமாணங்கள் இல்லை. KMCHின் ஒவ்வொரு இடத்திலும் உங்களை காண்கிறோம். இனி உங்கள் நினைவாக அமையவிருக்கும் மழலை மருத்துவமனையில் காவல் தெய்வதையாக நீங்கள் இருப்பீர்கள் என்று அறிவோம். எங்கள் நினைவு தோட்டத்தில் என்றும் உங்கள் மனம் வீசிக்கொண்டிருக்கும். இதற்கு மேல் எனக்கு வார்த்தைகள் இல்லை, கண்ணீர் மட்டும்தான் மல்குது. வணக்கம்.